Hello students, this is Dilip Kumar Jain, PGT Physics KV number 1, Udaipur. Right now, I am here with you students with the last part of chapter number 1 of class 12th. I have made another starting 4 part of this chapter. I think you should must watch them and be ready for next video for the solution of this chapter number 1. So let's begin today's video. Application of Gauss law. First application, electric field due to an infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. First we will find the direction of electric field. Here one straight long infinite wire which is uniformly charged. We consider a pair of line element P1 and P2 of wire such that these two elements P1 and P2 are equidistant from O. Due to electric field at P, due to P1 and P2 are equal in magnitude, because here P1P is equal to P2P. On resolving this electric field in the term of components, we find that normal component cancel out and resultant electric field is in horizontal direction. That is, electric field is perpendicular to the long straight charge wire. Calculation of electric field. To calculate the electric field at point P at r distance from the charge straight wire. So here this is straight charge wire and we want to find the electric field at point P, which is at r distance from this wire. We assume a Gaussian surface of cylindrical shape of radius r and height of L. Here we assume a Gaussian surface whose length is what L and radius is what r. By the definition of linear charge density, lambda equal to q upon L, this implies q equal to lambda L. This is equation number 1. This Gaussian surface has curved surface S1 and two flat circular ends S2 and S3. Obviously, DS1 is parallel to E and DS2 is perpendicular to E and DS3 is perpendicular to E. So total electric flux through this Gaussian surface phi equal to E dot ds from surface 1, E dot ds2 from surface 2 and integral of E dot ds3 at from surface 3. So in first case, here E and ds1 is in the same direction. ds1 is parallel to E, so cos 0 degree. But in second and third case, ds2 is perpendicular to E, ds3 is also perpendicular to E. So here E ds2 cos 90, E ds3 cos 90, and we know that cos 90 is equal to 0 and cos 0 equal to 1. So we get phi equal to integral of E ds1 plus 0 plus 0. This implies phi equal to E integral of ds1. Integral of ds1 is total curved surface area, so which is equal to 2 pi rl. So phi equal to E into 2 pi rl. This is equation number 2. By using Gauss law, phi equal to q upon epsilon 0. So by using equation number 1 and 2, equation number 1 is what? Q equal to lambda L, and equation number 2 is phi equal to E into 2 pi RL. So we just substitute here phi equal to E into 2 pi RL equal to lambda L upon epsilon naught. L cancel, we get E equal to 1 upon 2 pi epsilon naught lambda upon R. Or we can write E equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught 2 lambda upon r by multiply 2 by 2 on right hand side. So in vector form, E vector equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 2 lambda upon r n cap, where n cap is the radial unit vector in the plane perpendicular to the wire passing through the point. If lambda is positive, then E is directed outwards. If lambda is negative, then E is directed inward. Here we notice that E is inversely proportional to R. Second important application of Gauss law, electric field due to a uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. In this, we see one portion of the infinite plane sheet on which surface charge density is what sigma. From this sheet at r distance, one point is P on which we want to find the electric field due to this infinite charge plane sheet. We consider a thin infinite plane sheet of charge with uniformly surface charge density sigma equal to q upon a or q equal to sigma a. Equation number 1. The direction of electric field points outwards and perpendicular to the plane sheet. Electric flux through the plane and face of the cylinder is phi equal to Ea plus Ea. This implies that phi equal to 2 Ea. Equation number 2. By using Gauss law, phi equal to q upon epsilon naught. By using 1 and 2 in equation number 3, so phi equal to 2 Ea equal to q equal to sigma a from equation number 1 upon epsilon naught. A cancel out, so E equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught. In vector form, E vector equal to sigma upon 2 epsilon naught n cap, where n cap is unit radially outward vector perpendicular to the plane sheet. Very important, the electric field does not depend on R. Here we get a parallel line with R. If sigma is greater than 0, means if sigma surface charge density is positive, field is directed away from it, and if sigma is less than 0, if sigma is negative surface charge density, then field is directed towards it. Third important application of Gauss law, electric field due to a uniformly charged thin spherical shell. We consider a thin spherical shell of radius capital R with uniform surface charge density sigma. From symmetry, we notice that electric field vector at any point is radial and has same magnitude at points equidistant from the center of the shell. Here we discuss three cases. Case number 1, when point P lies outside the spherical shell, means this R is greater than radius of spherical shell. In this diagram, this one is our spherical shell on which charge is distributed and its surface charge density is what? Sigma. Our point P is lie outside the spherical shell. By the definition of surface charge density, sigma equal to q upon 4 pi r square or q equal to 4 pi r square sigma. This is equation number 1. Flux through the Gaussian surface phi equal to E into 4 pi r square. Equation number 2. By using Gauss law, phi equal to q upon epsilon naught. Now we use equation number 1 and 2 in equation number 3. So phi replaced by E into 4 pi r square equal to Q replaced by 4 pi r square sigma upon epsilon naught. 4 pi cancel, we get E equal to sigma upon epsilon naught r square upon r square, or we can write as E into 4 pi r square equal to Q upon epsilon naught, or E equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon r square. By observing this expression, the field is same as that produced by a charge Q placed at the center O. Hence, for point outside the cell, the electric field due to uniformly charged cell is H. If the entire charge of the cell is concentrated at its center. Case number 2, when point P lies on the spherical shell. By Gauss law, E equal to 4 pi r square equal to q upon epsilon naught. Here r equal to capital R, so E equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square, but q equal to 4 pi r square sigma, so E equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught 4 pi r square sigma upon r square. 4 pi cancel, r square cancel. So we get E equal to sigma upon epsilon naught. Next, case number 3, when point P lie inside the spherical shell. This small r is less than capital R. In this condition, point P is lie inside the spherical shell. Flux through the Gaussian surface phi equal to E into 4 pi R is equation number 1. By Gauss law, phi equal to Q upon epsilon naught, but the charge enclosed by this Gaussian surface is 0, so phi E equal to 0. From equation number 1 and 2, E into 4 pi R square equal to 0, or from what we get 4 pi R square cannot be 0, so E equal to 0. Hence, electric field due to a uniformly charged spherical shell is 0 at all points inside the cell. Next one, variation of electric field with R for a spherical shell of charge. Here we can see as up to from 0 to capital R, point lie inside the spherical shell, we notice that electric field is what? 0. This is our case number 3. At R equal to R, the electric field is maximum E equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q upon R square. Case number 1, as we move out of the spherical shell, then electric field is vary as E proportional to 1 upon R square. Please try to solve these questions, and if you find any difficulty, then ask me in comment box. Thank you.